welcome back to the channel. It has been a while, hasn't it? And I'm looking forward to playing more TW, finally getting back to the habit of it. So what you're going to see me do here, I've taken Here Comes the Money and I've modified it slightly so that WF owns WCW. I won't get into the nitty gritty about what's happening in the background because I've had to sort of think really creatively about how I want to do this. But essentially, we're starting in April of 2001, post WrestleMania X-7, and we are going to play from this point towards a new Invasion storyline. My take on it. In reality, there was a lot of barriers to why the Invasion happened the way it did. Contract issues, ego issues, probably not wanting to take WCW seriously, not really being able to take it seriously because you didn't have all the stars. I'm going to sort of not pay attention to those issues. I'm going to very much take the role of a fantasy booker. Here's a big what if it happened in this way. So starting us off, we're going to open cold on Vince McMahon in the middle of the ring. He's not even going to get an entrance. He's going to be in the middle of the ring after the Raw credits. He's going to be there and he's going to have the smuggest face. Ladies and gentlemen, I have won. Last night, Stone Cold Steve Austin shook my hand and ended the last ounce of defiance against me, Mr. McMahon. And nobody saw it coming. You people didn't see it coming. You didn't even see it coming, Jim Ross. Nobody did. So that's it. I've won. There's no one left to oppose me. The Rock's gone. He's shipped off. He's making me money now. He's gone to Hollywood. And I know what you're thinking. Shane McMahon, my bastard son. World Championship Wrestling's dead. It's got nothing. It doesn't even have a TV deal. So Shane McMahon, you're cut off now. You're cut off. You rot with the corpse of WCW. You're gone. And just like that, I, Vincent Kennedy Man, am the undisputed ruler of sports entertainment. No one can oppose me. And just as he says that, he's going to be interrupted by car crash music, and out comes who but Mick Foley. I couldn't stay away. I couldn't stay away when you were doing what you were doing, Lynn McMahon. I'm not staying away from this. If Austin wants to throw away his respect, that's on him. But to do what you are doing, The Rock, for example, gave his body to this business, and you just shipped him away. Not on my watch, Vince. I'm not having you do this. So, The Rock has a rematch clause, and he's not here to take it. But I've spoken to one Linda McMahon, and she agrees with me to take away his rematch clause by simply shipping him away so he doesn't get that rematch. That puts us in a bit of a legal problem here in the WWF. So, it's been agreed. It's been signed. The Rock's agreed. Linda McMahon signed off on it. The Rock's rematch clause has been transferred to me, Mick Foley. I get a shot at the WWF Championship, and I'm getting it tonight. Vince butts in at this point. He goes, wait, Mick, that's all well and good, but there's a problem. Austin isn't here. Now, Austin has earned a vacation. He's earned some time off. Even if you have the paperwork, even if you have the legal documentation, you're not getting a match with Austin tonight. I thought you might try that. Foley will come in, and we've got it covered. You see, it's only fair that since The Rock is absent, so he gets a representative, it's only fair that Austin gets a representative too. So the WWF Championship is going to be on the line, and I'm going to be fighting for it. The question is, who am I fighting? And, as per the paperwork, Vince, as agreed by your wife, Linda McMahon, that representative is you. That's right, Vince. Tonight, it's me and you. one-on-one in that ring, and if I win, I'm taking the WWF Championship. I mean, I'm taking it somewhere you can't touch it. Maybe a WCW, for example. So that's it. That's our main event for tonight, and predictable, good rating. That's what I thought we'd get. We cut back to commentary, and they are going to obviously to react to that amazing announcement there. Tonight, it's going to be a WWF Championship match, but the champion's not even in it. It's going to be Vince McMahon versus Mick Foley. But let's remind ourselves of what happened at WrestleMania. We're going to get a recap of TLC 2. Everyone tore the house down. It was amazing. And that's going to cut us straight into the new tag team champions, Edge and Christian, walking backstage. And I want them to be really selling it. They're bandaged up. They've got like arms in slings, head bandage, and of course, just behind them, right as rain is Rhino. And they're going to be limping, and they're going to walk right into the APA, Bradshaw and Farouk. And Bradshaw and Farouk are going to give them their due. To be fair, hell of a fight last night, boys. It was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. And you deserve a break, so you rest up. I can see you hurting. But don't get it twisted. You are champions now, you realise. And that means teams like the APA were gunning for you. So well done, but don't forget we're waiting. You might have Rhino snarling and stuff like that, maybe getting ahead of Edge and Christian. Edge and Christian obviously going to be backing off a little bit. But yeah, just setting up something in the future. Because of the nature of WrestleMania, all three teams are going to be pretty battered, so I didn't want them wrestling tonight, but yeah, get them involved somehow. Then we go our first match tonight, and it's going to be Chris Jericho versus X-Pac. Now, how could they not have a good match, really? But of course, Chris Jericho is obviously the Intercontinental Champion. He beat William Regal. He's probably not in the good books of the Commissioner at the moment. So this is not actually a title match. X-Pac is going to have X Factor with him, so that's Albert and Justin Credible. And they're going to get involved throughout this match. It's a pretty good, even contest, but the difference makers seems to be the outside interference. But Jericho's going to outsmart everyone. What I imagine, Justin Credible up on the apron maybe distracts the referee. Albert's going to come in. He's going to run towards Chris Jericho. Jericho's going to duck out the way. Ref just got out the way as well. Albert hits Justin Credible. Credible goes flying. Jericho dropkicks Albert. He goes out. And that leaves him an opening to hit X-Pac with a lion salt, pick up the victory that way. So, non-title match, but he still beats X-Pac. Good match that as well. 78 rating, that's pretty good. Crowd's hot at the moment. Cut backstage, we're in Vince McMahon's office, and obviously Vince McMahon's fuming at this point. He's just been told he's going to have a match with Mick Foley, and he's going to get decimated, isn't he, really? He's still feeling the match with Shane, for example. So, yeah. So, he's there, he's panicking, he's trying to get Austin on the phone. Maybe he can get Austin to quickly get himself to the arena, maybe fight Mick Foley, but Austin's not picking up. Regal assures him that he'll find a way, we'll think of something, and Stephanie reminds his father that there is someone else who could help, and that person's Triple H. But Vince is a little concerned. Look, Austin and Triple H have history. So, I haven't seen him since last night. I don't know how he's going to react to me shaking hands with Steve Austin, so tell you what, Stephanie, this is your job. You deal with your husband. You get him on side. You go find him. Then we get a recap of the hardcore chaos that was the triple threat match, and that's going to set the stage for a rematch. It's announced right here. Raven wants his title back, and he's going to have a one-on-one hardcore match with Kane next. And that was the plan, but it doesn't quite work out that way. So you see, what happens is, when Kane is headed to the ring, he gets attacked from behind by Right to Censor. And it seems to be the Good Father that's leading the way. He's trying to get in there. They brought their own referee as well. Good Father tries to get a pin out on Kane, but who actually breaks it but Raven? Raven's not going to have his belt get further away from him. He wants that belt back. So he's going to work himself up the ring. It's going to become a freeway contest. They're going to fight up on the stage. Chaos. other right centre members are there. So Val Venus is going to be there. Steven Richards is going to be there. Ivy's going to be there, but she's not going to get physically involved, of course. And yeah, they're just going to be fighting away. They're going to work their way to the ring when more brawling, weapons from the cart that Raven brings to the ring are going to be involved. And eventually, Kane grabs Raven by the throat, chokeslams him onto a trash can and pins him. And that's the end of the match. Kane officially retains, but he beat Raven, but not the Good Father and Right Sensor. So they all gang up on him. All three men, Steven Richards, Val Venus, Good Father, are on top of him. And then, Dead Man Walking. To the ring comes, on a motorcycle, The Undertaker, and he's come to the rescue of his brother. He's going to get in there, he's going to help clear house, him and Kane standing tall at the end. Last ride to Steven Richards. Sorted. Brothers Destruction stand tall. Going backstage now, and a car pulls up, and out of that car steps one Triple H, and he is met immediately by Stephanie McMahon, who's pleading with him. Imagine Stephanie doing her thing where she's sort of pleading with Triple H, but ultimately, yeah, he's not really reacting. He's kind of just looking blank-faced a little bit, and then when she finishes, all he has to say is, Steve Austin? I hate Steve Austin. He tried to end my career. He tried to end my life. And Vince just shook hands with him, as if none of that happened. Vince is on his own tonight. He's done it to himself. And then Triple H storms off, and Stephanie can only really trail after him, unfortunately. So it looks like they haven't got Triple H on side. So Eddie Guerrero is the new European champion, and he's thrown a party backstage. He's got his friends Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn there. And he's got, imagine them sitting there all stoic and stern face, and he's bouncing around, he's really happy, just as you know Eddie can do. We celebrate tonight, like they do in Europe, Holmes. I'm not doing that for the whole promo. We got fish and chips from England, we got pasta from Italy, we've even got strudel from Germany. And then knock on the door. And that'll be the champagne straight from France. Come in. And the person who comes in is not someone delivering champagne. It's actually Billy Gunn. Yeah, Billy Gunn. Right. Who invited you, Holmes? We're having a party here. You said come in, actually, Eddie. But I'm not here to party. I want a shot at the European title. And I know Tesla won his rematch. But I'm just throwing my name in the hat. Eddie is sneering. You ruined my party, SA. You don't deserve a shot on my belt. But if you want to fight, we'll do it tonight. You find yourself a partner. I've got partners here. I'll beat some respect into you. We're going to get, at that point, a recap of the Shane and Vince match and go over that. Once again, highlighting that the finish of that match was Linda stepped up from the wheelchair and kicked him in the nads, basically, and that led to Shane winning. So they're going to show a recap of that. We're going to cut back to commentary, and Heyman is going to voice some concern now. I'll tell you this, Jim Ross. Let me tell you what I think of WCW. WCW is a streaming cesspool of egos and old miserable bastards. The best thing that could have happened for us all is if Vince McMahon bought WCW as planned and just closed the whole thing. So, Shane, if you're watching, here's my advice. Fire everyone. Every last person. Liquidate all the assets you have. I know that you don't have many. Maybe that'll allow you to replace the trust fund you lost when you betrayed your father. But that'll be the best thing for us all if WCW just went away. Jim Ross would give it the whole, I don't know about that, but okay, whatever, Paul. And then we're going to get a match here with... Well, I've combined my two personal issues because I've got Chyna and Eddie Guerrero in one match. Oh, Chyna, where did she come from? Yeah, so Eddie said pick a partner. He's going to come out with Perry Saturn, naturally. Billy Gunn's going to come out, and his partner is the new women's champion, Chyna. Because China loves and has a history of working with the men. And we don't have a lot of women she can face right now, so why not? So this is going to be quite a quick match. It's not going to take long at all. 6:19 as it says. And what I imagine is China sort of does a press slam on Perry Saturn, and as he's struggling up, Billy Gunn hits a Fairmaster, then China gets the pin. Something like that. Eddie Guerrero's going to be like sort of scurrying up the stage. He has history with China after all, doesn't he? So why would he want to stay there? And as expected, Eddie Guerrero is carrying the match. He's going to with something like this. I want to do more with Eddie Guerrero, but I just need him to get rid of the personal issues first. So we'll see what happens. And then we're going to go backstage. Once again, Vince McMahon's office. And this time in comes Ivory with a battered Steven Richards. He's selling. I put Regal down, but I changed it to Stephanie McMahon. Probably would have been better with Regal, actually. But never mind. Going to come into the office. Now, did you see that? Unprovoked attack from The Undertaker on my colleagues of Right to Censor. Also, you've got that harlot China mixing with the men. This all needs to stop. WF is headed down an immoral path. I want my rematch. So Vince McMahon waves her off and leaves her with, let's say, Stephanie McMahon now. I know it says Regal. So imagine Stephanie said. Stephanie goes, my father has bigger matters tonight. But your rematch, we can arrange that. We'll arrange that for next week. But you've got to do us a favour. I need someone to teach Trish Stratus a lesson on behalf of my father, Mr. McMahon. See, Trish got involved in the match as well. Once again, if you look back at this era, it's not a good look for WWF, really. But they did the whole thing of embarrassing Trish weekly, and she actually stood up for herself at WrestleMania and helped Shane win. So, naturally, they're going to want to get some revenge on Trish Stratus as well. So, Ivory smirks and agrees. It's going to be Ivory and Trish Stratus tonight. And if she does this favour, she's going to get a rematch against China. Then we're going to have a great match, actually. A match between Benoit and Hardcore Holly. And you tell me this wouldn't be a hard-hitting match. It'll be storming. So, don't really say much about the match. It's probably a lot of chops. But at ringside is going to be Kurt Angle. He's going to be on commentary, actually. And main thing he's going to do, so at WrestleMania, he beat Chris Benoit, and then when he was doing like a sort of a victory interview, Benoit attacked him and put him in the cripple crossface. So mainly he's just going to be better about that. He's going to say, what a sore loser Chris Benoit is. He attacked me after I proved I was a better man. I proved I was a better wrestler than him. What, you think just because he ended the night by putting me in a crossface after he snuck attacked me, that makes him better than me? No, it doesn't. I'm better than him. So the match continues. Benoit eventually picks up the win with the crippler crossface, and then obviously straight after, Angle jumps Benoit. He's going to attack him. He's going to put his boots to him, and then he's going to go for an Angle slam. Benoit's going to slip over the top, put Angle right back in the crossface, and Angle's going to tap, and they're going to draw attention to this. JR's going to say, Benoit is making Angle tap like a drunk man. This is getting way out of control. And then referee's going to rush the ring. They're going to separate the two. Benoit's going to obviously walk up the ramp victorious. His music's going to be playing. And Kurt Angle will do his best selling. He'll be And yeah. So Benoit end up on top again despite a sneak attack. And more importantly, Angle tapped to the crossface, even if it wasn't a match. He tapped. So that's a key thing. I think you can see where I'm going to go with this. Then our final recap of the night is the recap of WrestleMania's main event. Steve Austin shaking hands with Vince McMahon, but only after he put the chairs to The Rock. And mostly this is just going to be a reminder of just how bad the beatdown on The Rock was. Final image of The Rock laying while the Steve Austin and Vince McMahon shake hands is important. And then we're going to cut to ringside once again, and this time JR is getting really emotional. He's getting angry, he's getting agitated. This isn't the Steve Austin I know. This isn't the rattlesnake I called my friend. And that's why
this Thursday on SmackDown, I'm travelling to Texas, to the home of Stone Cold Steve Austin, for a one-on-one exclusive interview with Stone Cold himself. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to ask the questions I need asking. So that's for SmackDown. So a little bit of a preview for SmackDown. We're going to have an interview between Jim Ross and Steve Austin. Then we get our match, just a cool down match really, before our main event. But we're going to have Trish Stratus versus Ivory. Didn't want to give them too long here. It shouldn't be too long. Trish Stratus is not there in ring wise at the moment, though. Looking at the scores, they're actually equal. I don't know, but Ivory is off a game, so maybe that's why. But yeah, it was just more or less a chance to get Trish out there. I want Trish to grow a little bit, so I want to put her in a good position going forward. We don't have much of a women's division at this point in history, I'm afraid, so I'll do what I can. But more or less, what I imagine is Trish Stratus gets a few athletic moves in, looks good, shines up real nice. Then Ivory can take over, bullies her a little bit, grabs her by the hair, drags her all over, eventually hits the she used to call it the Poison Ivory, didn't she? The sort of a face buster, almost like an X Factor, by grabbing the hair, and picks up the victory. So Ivory wins, Trish is being humbled, Ivory gets a title shot next week. Backstage, Mick Foley is with Michael Cole, and Michael Cole has some bad news. I'm afraid, shades of last night at WrestleMania X-7, your match with Vince McMahon has just been made no holds barred by Commissioner Regal. Foley kind of laughs this off, almost like he expected it. Like, I knew that was coming. I know this was never going to be a fair fight. I'm still in the WWF, and this is, for all intents and purposes, this is Vince McMahon's company. This is Vince McMahon's baby. He can do whatever he wants. But he's going to cut a little bit of promo. He's going to say, I can count on one hand the people in wrestling that I can trust. And it's probably no shock that Vince McMahon has never been one of them. And neither is Austin. I've never trusted the rattlesnake. But I'm not doing this because I feel betrayed. I don't feel Austin betrayed me. No. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm scared of what happens to this business if Vince McMahon genuinely has a monopoly. If the future of the WWF is Vince McMahon and Steve Austin running roughshod over everyone else, that's a scary thought. So I may be walking at the lines then tonight, but if not me, then who? And if I fail, God help us all. He's going to walk off, ready for his match. And then this was going to be a touch and go here, but yes, segment rating got a 69. That's about as good as I thought it would be, considering these are two non-wrestlers at this point. Really, Mick Foley is retired. Vince McMahon is not a wrestler, but nevertheless had a decent match. And I'm going to keep it really basic. Mick Foley, as soon as that bell rings, Mick Foley needs to be on. Vince McMahon needs to be battering him, because it's no holds barred, and that means there was going to be interference. So he's just going to batter Vince McMahon as much as he possibly can, and then sure enough, who runs down to ringside? Panicked as always, but William Regal. William is going to run down, all panicked, and Mick Foley sees it coming. He's going to turn, he's going to smack Regal a few times as well, sends them out. He's going to hit McMahon with a running knee, all that stuff. He's going to get on top. Regal's going to keep getting involved. He's going to keep having to fight Regal. It's almost a handicap match. Jim Ross can be saying that as well. It's like a goddamn handicap match. Eventually, Vince McMahon goes and gets a chair. Now, if you remember, that chair being introduced was all the difference to the main event X-7. Steve Austin just wailed on The Rock with that steel chair, and that's ultimately what beat The Rock. So that's what Vince McMahon wants to do. But he gets stopped. Whatever, he gets it knocked out of his hand. Mr. Socko comes out. He's going to put Mr. Socko on Vince McMahon, and he gets a low blow from Regal. That cuts him off, and now it's Regal and Vince McMahon just sort of ganging up on Mick Foley. He's going to be hit with several chair shots, maybe, and he's a retired man at the end of the day. He shouldn't be undergoing this punishment. He's had this punishment all his career. He can't take any more. But the crowd are going to get behind Foley. He's going to fight back. Double arm DDT on Regal. Knocks him out. Sends him out the ring. It's just Mick Foley and Vince McMahon. He gets that mandible claw in, and this could be it. But then Vince McMahon, desperation, low blow. And down he goes. Vince McMahon's going to pick up the chair, and he's going to start, once again, hitting Mick Foley. But as he's picking up the chair, the game's music plays. Triple H is going to come down, and Triple H is going to have intent in his eyes. He's coming to stop Vince McMahon. Even when he's going to ringside, he's going to see William Regal getting up. He's going to run round. He's going to grab him, throw him over the commentator's table just to get rid of him even further. So everyone is going to see visually Triple H is not on Vince McMahon's side. He's going to get in the ring. He's going to make Vince McMahon back up. Vince McMahon's going to plead. He's dropped the chair. He's going to plead. Triple H is going to get in his face and he's going to go, please, Hunter, please help me. And Triple H is going to go, Steve fucking Austin. Really? Like, he's in his face, intense. And just then, as Mick Foley gets to his feet, Triple H is going to turn. He's going to kick Mick Foley in the gut, pedigree onto the steel chair that was left on the mat, and he's just got to stare. He's look dejected a little bit, look angry. He's going to roll the ring. He's going to start walking up the ramp, and McMahon's going to look shocked. McMahon didn't know that was happening, but either way, he's going to pin Mick Foley, and not like this. 1, 2, 3. Vince McMahon pins Mick Foley, following that pedigree. So the final image is going to be Vince McMahon winning, Mick Foley on the floor, and Triple H seething as he leaves and he's walking up the ramp. And that's the end of Raw. 70 is about as good as I thought I could do for this. We have lost popularity in most regions, but we've gained in some areas. That's not a bad sign. That's about all we can do. The other thing is, because of the product WWF has at this moment in the game, I was supposed to add eye candy. And yeah, I just didn't. Because why would I at this point? I was tempted to make Ivory and Trish Stratus an eye candy match, but it didn't make sense. But also when I tried it, just out of interest, Trish Stratus outright refused. So I don't think it's actually possible to do eye candy matches at the moment. So whatever. I've just whatever's whatever. I'll take a hit for not having eye candy. I've changed the product now, so I won't need to have an eye candy match requirement. But it takes a while to change over. So 70 is pretty decent. Let's see what we can do with SmackDown. And then we come to SmackDown then. So SmackDown is obviously going to start with a recap of what happened on Raw. Just seen it, don't need to go over it. But that's going to trigger the entrance of one Triple H. Triple H has a lot of explaining to do, and he's going to come down, and it's going to be very basic. You've seen Triple H promo before, but he's going to have Stephanie McMahon by his side. He's going to talk a little bit. I want him to sort of address all the situations going on. Mention Shane McMahon in WCW, ideally. That's why I've put Shane McMahon there, just to sort of keep things ticking with the WCW storyline as well. But the main thing he's going to address is, why did he side with Vince McMahon after everything? He's going to say, everybody wants to know why I did what I did. Why would Triple H stand next to Vince McMahon after everything we've been through? And why would I help my mortal enemy, Stone Cold Steve Austin? Let me just make one thing clear. I hate Steve Austin. I've hated him for a long time. He tried to end my career, he tried to end my life at one point, and I have never forgiven him, and I never will forgive him. So that hasn't changed. And as far as Vince McMahon's concerned, I hate him for every time he screwed me over. But he is my father-in-law. And here's the thing. I am the game for a reason. They call me the game because I know when to play my hand and when to fold it. Right now, undeniably, the chips are lying on Vince McMahon's side of the table, so that's where I'm going to stand. For now. And if that means standing side by side with the man I hate, Steve Austin, for now, that's what the game is going to do. And that's going to be the gist of it. And yeah, SmackDown's going to be a bit of a sacrifice show for me because there's not really a lot I'm going to be doing storyline wise. I'm going to just move things along, but yeah. And then we're going to go to our main hook of the night. So at the end of Raw, it was announced that Jim Ross was going to Austin's home to talk to Steve Austin about why he did what he did. Now, this is where we're going to have the interview format. It's going to be in 3 parts. It's going to be scattered throughout the night. But I want you to imagine Steve Austin's home in Texas, JR on one side of the table, Steve Austin on the other. So, first part of this is going to be now. Steve Austin is going to be looking quite somber. He's going to have the world title sort of like on the table. He's not going to be holding it or anything at first. It's going to be on the table, and they're going to have quite open body language. This is a conversation after all. And JR is going to ask, first of all, okay, Steve, obviously a lot's happened, a lot we need to get through. Take me through the mind of Stone Cold Steve Austin heading into WrestleMania. And we're going to get sort of a somber, logical Steve Austin at this point. He's going to say, a mindset of WrestleMania. Well, go back, JR. Go further back. What about in 1999 when I got run down? Go further than that. Go to 1997, when I got spiked on my neck. I broke my neck. Since then, it's been a ticking time bomb, and Steve Austin has had to think about what happens when I can't do this anymore. What happens when I can't lace my boots anymore? So I had time to think. And I had time to hate. And sure, the obvious. I had time to hate the son of a bitch who was behind the wheel when I got run over. I've took my anger out on those people. I've took my frustrations out on those people, and I feel I've got my own. I've gotten revenge, but I still hate. And you know why? You know what hurt worse? Whenever I turned on the TV and I saw the fans move on, they forgot about me, JR. They had The Rock. They had Jericho. Hell, at one point they even had Shane McMahon. What about Stone Cold? So, to answer your question, going into WrestleMania, what was going through Steve Austin's head? Well, I knew one thing. I had to win that WWF Championship. I had to win it by any means necessary. Do you understand what that means, JR? By any means necessary? Do you get me? End of part 1. And does exactly what I want. That's basically Steve Austin just cutting a promo, and so I'm going to get what I want from that. We got our first contest of the evening, which is some tag action with some tag title repercussions in mind. Now, X Factor, Justin Credible and Albert got 1-on-1, 2-on-2 against APA, Farouk and Bradshaw. Now, if you remember on Raw, Farouk and Bradshaw obviously squared up to the tag champions, Edge and Christian. So that'll be kind of the point of discussion. Let's talk about who's going to be next for those titles, and I'm sure both these teams want a shot. APA are going to pick up the victory here, being just incredible with an aided powerbomb. Why not? But since we're on the point of tag team divisions, we're going to now go backstage, and what I sort of picture is sort of a dark room with barely just Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley lit up slightly. Bubba's going to do most of the talking. He's going to say, we have been through wars in the past, but nothing like TLC at WrestleMania. We have respect for every team in that match. So Edge and Christian, well done. Matt and Jeff, the Hardys, well done. We respect you, but respect does not win championships, and the Dudleys is nothing else. Hungers for our gold back. But before that, we have unfinished business. See, Matt and Jeff Hardy, you broke your bodies at WrestleMania, and you broke ours as well. Neither of us came out on top that match. So while we were trying to fight it out and outdo each other, neither of us came out with the win. That means we haven't settled it yet. We have something to prove. We've had a layoff, and time heals physical wounds, but not these mental ones. So we can't quite shake out our feeling that we have unfinished business, Matt and Jeff Hardy. So we are putting a challenge out to you. One more match to settle this once and for all. And tell Lita to stay out of it. Keep her on a leash, because if she gets involved like she tried to do at WrestleMania, she's going through a table. Devon can then come in. Our brother testify. Usual thing, you know it, but yes. We're just gonna... I want to do Dudleys and Hardys one more time without the tag titles, basically, so that's what we're going to do. I've got an idea for that match. It was one of the first things I really decided I wanted to do, to be honest, so looking forward to it. And after that, we're going to have a recap, like what we've been doing with other matches at WrestleMania. This recap is going to be for the European title, which is quite of a non-event, really. It wasn't a major match, but you're going to see Eddie picking up the victory against Test, and then we're going to go to a Test interview with Kevin Kelly. He doesn't really have a lot to say. It's Test at the end of the day. Doesn't speak that often, but he's basically going to say, I was caught off guard. Eddie got me, but he didn't do it in a fair fight, so I am going to get my own back. I am going to get my rematch, and I'm going to take that European title back. And then Eddie's going to come in, and he's going to be smirking. He's going to call him a sore loser. You're crying for another title shot. You want an easy run so bad? Why don't you contact your pal Shane McMahon, get yourself a WCW contract, Holmes, because I've heard the competition there is wide open. But here in the WWF, there's a line of challenges forming. They all want a shot at the European champion. So you want your rematch? My advice, you be there Monday if you have the cojones. We'll settle this. So have some European stuff. So I now added that as a storyline. So I have an idea for Eddie, basically, before we put Eddie in anything sort of main line. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Then we're going to go to the ring. Kurt Angle's up next, and before his match, he's going to get on the microphone. And unfortunately, he's going to be drowned out a little bit by "you tapped out" chants. And commentary, Michael Cole and Taz are going to emphasise how when he tried to attack Benoit on Raw, he tapped out, obviously, the cripple crossface. So the crowd's chanting, "You tapped out, you tapped out," and Angle, in his angly way, is going to brush it all aside. He's going to say, "Not when it mattered, it didn't. I didn't tap out when it mattered." Bell to bell, Angle beats Benoit every time. All he can do is cheap shot me, attack me from behind, put me in submissions when it doesn't matter, when there's not even a match. I have nothing to prove. He can't beat me. He can't make me tap out in an actual match. But me, I'm an Olympic gold medalist. I can make anyone tap out at any time. I do it in matches. I do it outside of matches if I want to. It's easy. It's nothing to me. And Benoit, if you don't get off my back, if you don't back off, I will do it to you, no bother. And just to sort of prove how serious I am, you watch this match and you watch what I do to my opponent tonight. Which takes us to very much a squash match between Kurt Angle and Funaki, and it is just going to be Kurt Angle throwing Funaki around, bullying him a little bit, putting him in different wrestling holds, showing his Olympic wrestling, but more importantly, he's going to lock in the ankle lock. Now, at this point in history, the ankle lock's not a settled finisher of Kurt Angle, but I kind of need him to start having it, so he's going to get it. This is very similar to what we did actually in reality, because I'm
pretty sure he introduced the ankle lock as a counter to the cripple crossface. Someone can correct me on that, but that's what he's going to do. He's going to put Funaki in the ankle lock, and most importantly, he's going to hold on to it. He's going to let it go, get his arm raised, and then go straight back to it. He's going to grab Taki Michinoku, who was probably at ringside with Funaki, chuck him out the ring, and put Funaki back in the ankle lock. He's going to try and break Funaki's ankle. And you can see Michael Cole kind of on commentary, he's going to break that damn ankle. Then we go backstage, and we've got Kane and The Undertaker back there. Tonight's main event, by the way, would have been announced like in the video package, but it's Kane and The Undertaker in a handicap match against Right to Censor, Val Venus, Stephen Richards, the Good Father. So they're backstage, they're preparing, they're just in like the locker room, and Kevin Kelly's going to walk in, and he wants a word with both men. And main thing there is he's going to bring up Austin, Triple H, Vince McMahon to Undertaker. Because obviously you wrestled Triple H at WrestleMania, you have history with Austin too. What do you make of this situation that's going on? You're like kind of like the big name that's being excluded from this. And Undertaker's going to be quite cool with it. He's just going to say, I've beaten them both. I beat Triple H at WrestleMania. As far as I'm concerned, I don't give a damn what Vince McMahon does or what either of them do. They can do whatever they want. The American Badass is going to bide his time. And when the time is right, I'm sure I'm going to look their way again. But for now, my mind's on one thing. It's on tonight's main event. It's on helping my brother squash some cockroaches. And just as he's saying that, who's going to run in but ex-hardcore champion Raven? He's going to run in with like a kendo stick, and unfortunately he's going to eat a boot from the Undertaker. Undertaker sees him coming, but gets a boot up, knocks Raven straight down to the floor, and then Kane and Taker are going to pound him around. They're going to take turns before double chokeslamming him through a catering table. And Taker's going to look up, look at his brother, Kane, and just go, another cockroach squashed, and move on with his life. Just like that, Raven, desperate to get his hardcore title back, not getting a break right now. Then we're going to another squash match here, squash match heavy, I'm afraid, on SmackDown. Big Show is going to make his first appearance into the hardcore title match, and he's going to beat Case Quick in just a few minutes with a choke slam. Really just to get him back on the scene, put him over as a monster. He's going to have more to play for down the line, no doubt. Which takes us to part 2 of the Austin interview. So picking up from the last time about what went through Austin's mind, and Austin brought up, of course, all the issues with his neck and feeling like he was forgotten. You spoke about feeling replaced and forgotten, Steve. I can understand that fear. But how does that drive you to do what you did at WrestleMania? And Austin's going to snap straight back. He's going to pick up on that one word. Fear. Who the hell said fear? I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm scared of nobody, and I need nobody. How does it drive me? Well, I don't know you a goddamn thing, do I, JR? I don't know these fans a damn thing. I do what I want, when I want. And WrestleMania, I did what I had to do. I paid my bills. With my neck shot and my career on the ropes, I found a way to feed my family. I found a way to win the WWF Championship. Are you going to do that for me, JR? The Rock ain't going to pay my bills and feed my family. He's off in Hollywood making millions. He doesn't give a damn. Fans don't give a damn about me. But me, this is all I've got. I've got the WWF Championship. And now I've got the man who has won every battle, survived to brag about it, right by my side. I have Vince McMahon. So if you want your answer, what drives me? JR. Survival drives me. Survival, JR. And I'm proud of it. I'm a survivor. I'm the champion now, and I'll be champion a long time because I survive. Nobody has what it takes to get this from me. So we're starting to get a more agitated Steve Austin at this point, and he's starting to snap back a little bit at what JR has to say. A little bit of a quick recap now from WrestleMania, where Chyna beat Ivory in very much a squash match, of course, at the time, and they're now going to get a rematch. Of course, Ivory bullied and beat Trish Stratus on Raw, and as she did that favour, she's getting now a shot
at a rematch for the women's title. Which brings us to our next match. So scheduled for the next match is supposed to be William Regal teaming with Ivory to face Trish Stratus and Chyna. And it would not be the first time that we're mixing her up. It's almost like a mixed tag match because Chyna, even though she's a woman, does like to fight men. But before the match, unfortunately, Regal takes the microphone. I understand how everyone wants to see me put Miss Stratus and Miss Chyna over here in their place. But as a perfect gentleman, I cannot, in good conscience, I think it's the word, in good conscience, fight ladies. So I've had to find a suitable replacement to team with Ivory tonight against these two trollops. And he's going to introduce a debutante, which is Jazz. Jazz, I'm pretty sure Jazz hadn't made a debut at this point. I think her debut happens later, obviously before the invasion happens. So she's going to come out and she's going to replace William Regal. And I'm looking forward to having Jazz in there as an actual, a woman who can go at this point. So we get a match between Trish Stratus and Chyna and Ivory and Jazz. And more or less, Jazz is going to be making a claim here. She's going to stand up to Chyna a little bit. She's going to bully Trish Stratus. And Ivory's going to be a little bit more cowardly. So she's going to hide a little bit behind Jazz. And of course, Willie Ringer's going to be outside being a nuisance. And we can highlight the hypocrisy of this. He said he couldn't fight women. He has no issues being outside laying cheap shots. In the end, it's Jazz who beats Trish Stratus, picking up the victory. So Ivory and Chyna are not going to be involved in the decision. It's going to be Jazz getting the win over Trish Stratus. Quite important. And unfortunately, Jazz seems to be the weak link. I wonder why that is. She's definitely not the worst in ring at this point. I wonder if it's just because she's not as over, maybe. We're going to go backstage since we're on the subject of women. Molly Holly is going to be there with Crash and Hardcore Holly, her cousins. And we're going to just catch the end of a conversation here where she basically wants help to prepare for an in-ring career. And Crash, we're going to have two reactions. Crash is going to be really positive. He's obviously the light heavyweight champion at this point, actually. I probably should mention that. He's like, I'll help you train. I'm a champion. I'll help you train. And Hardcore's going to take the lead. He's going to shake his head. You want to do what we do? Well, you got to pay your dues first. You don't just get handed training. I will train you when you have earned it. Then another squash match for ourselves. I originally put someone else in this match, but it just wasn't working out with that person. It's they've got issues, and I didn't want to be hit with another low rating because of those issues. So I swapped them out for someone who I have on the roster in development, which is Brian Kendrick, and bring him in to be squashed basically. And all it is I want Rhino to be getting over as well, and he's going to come in, he's going to throw Kendrick around, he's going to hit him with the gore, stand tall, nice and easy. Back to Triple H now. He's walking through backstage, he's getting ready to leave, and obviously he has Stephanie next to him, and as he's walking through backstage towards his car, he's going to get stopped by the Intercontinental Champion, Chris Jericho. Jericho at first is going to look quite humble and respectful. I heard what you said on her, and I know we have our history, but just want to say, listen to what you said out there, and I have to say, it was the biggest load of crap I have ever heard from a human male. Not a human female, though, because Stephanie, I've heard even worse from you. We've got to get a little bit of back and forward, and Triple H is going to get in Jericho's face, and Jericho's going to quickly return fire. We both know you don't move until Daddy Vince tells you. And if not, why are you doing this to Steve Austin? You hate him so bad? Why don't you put your money where your mouth is? Why aren't you squaring up with Steve Austin? We both know the answer. You're scared. You're scared of stepping out of line, aren't you, Triple H? Triple H will have no response to this. He's just going to growl and he's going to say, watch your back. At this point, we're playing with emotions with Triple H. On one side, he says, well, I kind of need to toe the line because of my father-in-law, because of Steve, because of Vince, because of Stephanie, all that stuff. But there's going to be a conscience niggling at him and going, I should really be fighting Steve Austin still, you know. And that's what Chris Jericho is going to really be playing up there. You're so cocksure of yourself, Triple H. Why aren't you squaring up to Austin right now? Which takes us to our main event. And at this point, that's our main event, and it's a very rubbish match to be in the main event. We're kind of relying on just the Brothers of Destruction picking it up with star power, and that's absolutely fine, you know. So we have a bit of a wild brawl, and this will go around the ringside and all that. More or less going to be the Brothers of Destruction staying on top, despite it being a handicap match. And I want Steven Richards to take the fall. This will probably be the last of the RTC for the most part. It's pretty dead act at this point. It's been overrun. So that's going to be them wiped out, more or less. Still have Ivy around, and they find a different way to use some of them. 63 ratings, not too bad. Like I said, this is kind of a sacrifice SmackDown. It wasn't going to be very good. Which takes us to our final instalment of the Steve Austin interview. This is our real main event. Unfortunately, the angle idea we had for it failed a little bit, but never mind. So, JR leans forward. We're getting to the real part of the interview now. Steve, let's be real. You shook hands with the man who tried for years to destroy you. If this is all about survival, Steve, how can you justify that? Now, at this point, he's questioning Austin's character, and Austin doesn't like it. You think I forgot what Vince did? I didn't. But at the end of the day, I trust no one. Not you, not the fans, not The Rock, not The Undertaker. You name them, I don't trust them. At least Vince knows what it takes to stay on top. And so do I. We both have that in common. The fans cheered me when I was raising hell against Vince, but the second I stumbled, they would throw me away. And they did that when I was away. Vince won't throw me away because Vince needs Stone Cold just as much as Stone Cold needs Vince. A little bit of a contradiction there, because Vince, Steve Austin even said he doesn't need anyone. Now he's just sort of said Vince needs me and I need him. So JR is going to start getting a little bit emotional. He's a little bit agitated with what Steve's saying. Steve, this isn't the rattlesnake I know. This isn't the man I called my friend. You are bitter. You are paranoid. And I never thought I'd say this. You're a coward. What happened to you, Steve? From the bottom of my heart, Steve, for the sake of everyone watching at home, snap out of it. It's not too late to change how things are going. And just like that, we have the whole heel turn being questioned. What you're doing is a mistake. Change it. And Austin is going to pause. This would be a great opportunity for him to reflect and go, you're right, actually, screw McMahon, whatever. But he's not going to do that. He's going to look up slowly and in sort of a calm voice. Are you better than me, JR? Do you think you know me? You're sitting there, you're judging me with your cowboy hat, your smug little lopsided face. You think you're better than me, JR? JR's going to shake his head. No, Steve, I don't think you're better than you. But Steve is going to just keep ranting. He's going to, once again, bring all the frustrations out. He's getting angry, and eventually he leaps across the table. He's going to start attacking JR. He's going to be punching him, kicking him, and all you're going to really hear is Deborah, Austin's wife, in the background, pleading with Austin to stop. And eventually the production staff is going to step in. They're going to pull Austin off JR, and the show is going to end with Steve standing tall, having beaten up a commentator and his former friend. And just like that, 67 is about what I thought it would be. Not great ratings at the moment, always the case with scene setting. Hopefully it builds over time as we set up new storylines and stuff, but naturally no eye candy match still. But yes, same old. But that's our first week of shows. Next week we're going to do Raw and SmackDown once again, and we'll see how storylines develop. No invasion yet, but we're laying seeds, I promise you. So we'll end it there, guys. Thank you very much.